It's exciting, it's drinkable, it's 3 years in the making. Today we're drinking Pondera. Hi guys, it's Jim here from Dr. Tankenstein with another episode of Beers of the British Isles. On today's episode, we're drinking Pondera. Now this is a collaboration brew between two absolute giants, Thornbridge of Bakewell and Firestone Walker of the west coast of the US. I'm not sure exactly where. So this is a real transatlantic project. It's a 6.7% West Coast IPA. You know how fond I am of those. It's an unashamed Westie. It's a West Coast IPA. So a West Coast IPA lends itself really well to this kind of transatlantic partnership. So the malt bill, let's just dive right into it. So the malt bill is is almost typically English malt bill. You got Marisotta, Munich, and dextrin malt. So, you know, it's kind of like a caramel just to give it a bit of body. So kind of like, you could confuse that with almost the malt bill of like any real ale, I guess, you know, classic Marisotta, Munich, dextrin malt. The hops, on the other hand, are Firestone Walker's domain. So Firestone Walker, like I say, West Coast of America, that's where all the hop business goes on, you know, Yakima in Washington and the west coast of America. So Firestone Walker really bring the business in this. It's got so many hops, you wouldn't believe. I think that, to be honest, this beer has been brewed so that the malt bill kind of can take a back seat. You've got Cashmere, Eldorado, Mosaic, Simcoe. So already 4 absolute giants of the hop world all melding together. But that's not quite good enough for Pondera. Apparently, all those hops are simply a garnish to make way for this kind of new hop that I'm just kind of becoming familiar with, Idaho 7. Apparently, Idaho 7 features very heavily in this beer. It's been almost brewed around this hop. I saw an interview with the brewers, actually, of this beer. They said that there was some Galaxy in it, but Galaxy didn't make it onto the brew sheet online, so maybe there's Galaxy, maybe there isn't. But I mean, how can you argue with that plate of hops? I guess the flavor that we're expecting here entirely depends on how they've used them. I mean, each one of those hops on its own is a secret weapon, so to have them all in the same beer, along with that, like I say, classic English malt backbone, who knows? The brewers say you can expect kiwi and passion fruit. Honestly, I mean, it's hard to see that this won't be kind of a fully bittered, tropical, refreshing, cleansing beer that's washed away and leaves you with that kind of toasty mouthfeel after you're done. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this because if I'm reading between the lines correctly, I feel like each brewery has really brought their arsenal to the game and they're both using it very well. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this thing. Right, we're in the glass. It's nice and cold, nice and fizzy, nice and clear, which is always a good sign if you're drinking a Westie. I think I've made that word. I think I'm the only one who seems to call them Westies, I guess. I don't know. Let's start a trend, guys. All 4 of you watching, let's start calling them Westies. So yeah, nice and clear, very nice color, just a classic sort of straw to golden color. I mean, if the lights shine on it right, it just looks so appetizing, so refreshing. Head retention, not great. It didn't really pour that great either, so I'm gonna chalk that one down to a loss. Though I hate to do that to Thornbridge and Firestone Walker. Yeah, the hop character is super passion fruit, and I'm not getting any kiwi, but then again, I don't really know what a kiwi smells like. So I would say like passion fruit and like guava. You ever had a guava? I had a guava once, but it's a flavor that you see kind of cropping up subtly in beers like this. And I think that's what we're looking at here. So yeah, very, I guess they are tropical fruits, but they're kind of those softer, sweeter tropical fruits. So not pineapple, grapefruit, they're kind of more tart ones. This is kind of mellow, which is interesting because, like I say, I'm expecting a real kind of bitter, clean, refreshing beer here. Okay, so it is bitter, but it isn't sharp. Maybe I was looking for the wrong thing in this. It's not sharp, it's not, the carbonation's kind of dropping off a little bit. It is bitter though, but it's not in your face. It's almost like once you're finished, then it's kind of like, right, we're gonna be bitter now, okay? Cool, yeah. Like I said, the malt bill kind of stays out of the way. The flavor, the main flavor that I'm getting, I can't quite put my finger on the main hop flavor. I would say the taste is quite piney, if I'm honest. But the pine coupled with that nice bitterness leaves you with an almost, I know I said it wasn't, but an almost grapefruity type flavor. So the nose is very soft, and passion fruit and guava and all those nice kind of soft, delicious fruits. The taste is completely different. The taste is not super sharp, but the bitterness just marries with those tropical flavors, creating a kind of a piney, grapefruity flavor. Like I say, the malt bill kind of stays out of the way, but when you first put it in your mouth, it's not sweet, but there is that kind of the edge of sort of a crackerness to it, yeah, so like a kind of toasty, crackery flavor up front. Okay, the brains behind this beer then, the brains behind Pondera, which I think I'm saying right. It looks like 2 words here, but online it's only ever 1 word, so I don't know. The brains behind them are kind of very well represented on the can. So Thornbridge, the big T logo, and then the lion and the bear, Firestone Walker's logos. Thornbridge, I've discussed at length before, just one of my favorite breweries. They can do no wrong in my eyes. Though we'll wait to see on this one. Yeah, they can do no wrong in my eyes. Founded in Bakewell in England, in the sleepy little village of Bakewell. Every year they host this beer festival called Peakender, which is in the Peak District where Bakewell is set, and it's a camping festival, and they just get all the best breweries from basically the country to go along to this camp out festival and bring their A games. And this is where the 2 breweries, Firestone Walker and Thornbridge, first met. Now, Firestone Walker, I'm not super familiar with them, but by all accounts, it was founded by 2 superheroes, Adam Firestone, aka the Bear, and Mike Walker, aka the Lion. And that's where they get their logos from. I would kill for a nickname like either the Lion or the Bear. What are the chances that the Lion and the Bear met and didn't fight it to the death? They were actually, in fact, friends. Also, Adam Firestone, isn't that the coolest name you've ever heard in your life? Anyway, so these guys got together in search of just a new local beer. And, as the age-old tale goes, they founded a brewery. Now, the internet makes a big deal about how they had humble beginnings, just two friendly superheroes meeting, the lion and the bear just met and wanted to make good beer. So they started with, like I say, very humble beginnings, just a very small brewery on a family vineyard. Like that's kind of like, that's kind of like saying I just started my mechanics shop, my family Ferrari garage. It was fairly humble, very small. No, I'm not taking away from what they did, but Firestone Walker. By all accounts, Firestone Walker are an absolute giant brewery in America. America's kind of different to the UK. Obviously, tell from the accent, I'm from the UK. In the UK, basically, if you're a brewery in the UK, everybody in the UK has access to your beers. In the US, that's kind of different. The distribution in the US is different. So, for example, if you're a brewery in California, you may only have distribution in, say, 4 states, which means there's massive swaths of the country which don't have access to your beer. I don't know what the distribution's like of Firestone Walker, but I've heard people from many, many different states, from all over the US, absolutely singing the praises of Firestone Walker. And like I say, you can get this stuff over here. If I'm honest, I've only ever had sort of middling pale ales and lagers from Firestone Walker myself, but maybe we don't get the good stuff over here. If there are any Firestone Walker fans among my 5 viewers, let me know of a good one, and I'll definitely pick it up and give it a go. Okay, then let's sum this up. Let's wrap up Pondera. Let's sum it up. So initially, head retention not great, but color and opacity pass the test. They pass the test. Great color. It looks like a Westie. The carbonation's not great, if I'm honest, and that's probably why the head retention's not great either, because there are no bubbles kind of feeding that foam on top. Yeah, I stand by that. The aroma is very soft, tropical, so very passion fruit. Guava. Guava, and now obviously now that it's warmed up, all the skeletons coming out of the closet, there is kind of a sharpness to it, almost a pineapple-iness to it, if that's a word that I can say without people laughing at me. Almost a pineapple-ness to it. That's not super strong. None of the aromas are super strong. They kind of just meld together to make this nice kind of juicy aroma. And when I first smelled this beer just 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, I was a bit put off by the aroma, from honest. The aroma wasn't what I was expecting from this, but it's lovely. It's very nice. You can imagine the aroma kind of seems like it should be with almost one of those New England juice bombs, rather than this nice, clean looking Westie. Right. Earlier on, I said it wasn't clean. It wasn't crisp. And I take that back. It is. It's really hitting just the tip of my tongue now. It's really, really there. It's nicely bittered. And I think that probably what that is it's probably your standard bitterness of a West Coast IPA, typically very, very well bittered. And I think that probably what's going on there is that cracker flavor and the residual malt sweetness from, say, the Marisotto and the Munich are probably playing off against it to make it seem like it's less bitter, but in fact it still has the pleasant qualities of being both bitter and sweet at the same time. If I can give this beer any more praise. So it's very nice. It's very like, it's kind of one of those beers where you would take big gulps of it because it sits very nicely in your mouth. It's kind of a beer in your mouth, if that makes sense. The hop flavors. So earlier I said that the hop flavors are kind of piney and grapefruity. So that kind of, the bitterness is coupling with those hop flavors to make it seem more of a harsh hop flavor. I think if you really look for it, those aromas that I mentioned earlier, the passion fruit, particularly the passion fruit, does sit in the mix somewhere. You just have to kind of look for it, and maybe when this beer warms up a little bit, maybe I'll see more of it. But for now, it's in there, it's in the mix, but it's just one of a few levels of it. All in all, it's a nice pour. It's a really nice pour. I guess my measure is, if this was on in a pub as a pint, I mean, I guess 6.7% is quite heavy for a pint, but I could definitely see myself gulping this beer and really enjoying it. So you should head down to Morrison's and get yourselves a Pondera, and when you do, stick on Why Can't We Be Friends by War. I think that song is a really good song. It sums up this perfectly, because Thornbridge and Firestone Walker first met at Peakender 3 years ago, and they were trying to get this collaboration working, and then it took them 3 years to finally be friends on this collab. So head on to Morrison's, grab yourself a Pondera, stick on Why Can't We Be Friends by War, and if you like it, you know what to do. Grab the can, head on to your bottle shop. They'll probably sell this beer also, if I'm honest. But try something new. Try a different Westie. In fact, ask them for a Westie. Start that, get that going. Ask for a Westie. If you find any good ones, if you find any good new beers, at Morrison's, whatever, let me know what they are. I'm always looking for new beers to drink, as you probably know if you're one of the 5 people that watch this. But in the meantime, guys, cheers.